1-year anniversary of the murder, the brutal murder of George Floyd. America watched for 6 minutes and 46 seconds as a knee was on the back, the neck of this black man, begging and screaming for his mother, pleading for his life. And they did not let up that knee. The other officers just watched and never stopped them. The people in the crowd felt so powerless. They felt so powerless because they knew if they even tried to stop what was happening, they too could be killed. They too could be harmed. But we're not afraid anymore. Are you afraid?
No.
Are you afraid?
No.
We see everywhere, not just here in America, but worldwide, people are standing up against oppression. Worldwide. And we stand in solidarity with all oppressed people. So that when we see our brothers and sisters fighting in Palestine, being oppressed by the state, being oppressed by law enforcement, we say, free, free Palestine!
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 Because we know as oppressed people that we're not free unless everybody is free. Is that right?
Woo!
We are not free until everyone is free. We are standing right now on indigenous land. We are just not fighting for our liberation, but for the liberation of all indigenous people. So we have to acknowledge the very land that we stand on. This is not even Paterson. This is Lenape land. Once we begin to understand all the struggles, we can connect the dots. Because us as black people, we know genocide, we know apartheid, we know the taste of tear gas. So we can understand what our brothers and sisters worldwide are suffering through. And we don't just be quiet about it. We don't say it's not our problem. It is our problem. Because they're human beings just like us. And the very thing that we are fighting for, the Black Lives Matter movement is fighting for, is the recognition of our humanity. Because we are human beings just like everybody else. So when we say Black Lives Matter, we say it with our chest. Black Lives Matter!
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 We know what we're fighting up against. This is not about racial bias training or de-escalation training. We see what happened in January 6th at the Capitol building. Those white supremacists rushing into the Capitol.
Talk about it.
We all seen that, right? The police had amazing restraint that day, didn't they? They had amazing restraint that day. They themselves were getting beat up, hit with sticks. They wasn't shooting nobody. But when black people are unarmed, we get shot and killed. They know how to restrain themselves. They know how to de-escalate situations. They just choose not to de-escalate it with us, people. They choose not to de-escalate it with us. So don't get fooled by all this talk about de-escalation training. This is about defunding the whole police department. This is about creating a new system that will create safety for all of us. In Paterson, everyone says the youth needs more recreation. Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
The youth need more recreation.
Yeah.
The city's budget is $200 million. Paterson police get paid $40 million. $40 million. And the recreation department is $2 million.
Say it again.
Recreation is $2 million.
Not enough.
Not enough.
So you're telling me we can't invest a little bit into our kids? We can't invest a couple extra $1 million to keep our kids off the streets? So when we talk about defunding the police and investing in our community, it's not something radical. And if it is something radical, I'm fine with that if it means protecting our youth. Are you fine with protecting our youth?
Yeah.
Do you want to protect our youth? Yeah. Because when we talk about community violence, we have to talk about police violence as well. And if we want to stop community violence, we need to stop police violence, and we need to start investing into our communities.
Right. That's right.
Let me hear everyone say for me loud and clear so that George Floyd up there can hear us and everyone else who was killed and taken from us by police violence. Say it with me. Black Lives Matter.
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 Solidarity, thank you.
Woo!
Our next speaker is another organizer from Black Lives Matter. Please give it up for Joe Moore.
Woo!
What's up, y'all? Man, it feels good to see the sun. You know, out of everything that's going on here today in our lives, we got to understand that our lives matter every single day. Each and every one of us. Like Brother Zelly said, we're fighting for everybody, from Paterson to Palestine. From Paterson to Palestine. Say it with me, from Paterson to... I can't hear you. From Paterson
To Palestine.
from Paterson
To Palestine.
from Paterson
To Palestine.
from Paterson
To Palestine.
We gotta understand that we're a union. Rainbow coalition of people that are fighting every single day for the right thing. And if you don't think about that every single day that you wake up, that's one of the problems. And especially with our youth. Racism isn't a DNA thing, it is taught. It is taught every single day. And what we do with the Black Lives Matter movement, we teach love. Love our brothers and sisters. Every single day. Love prevails over everything, every single day. And if the people that we are going up against don't have that, we win. This is how we win. Unification, right? A rainbow coalition of people that stand for one thing and one thing only. Doing the right thing. Love will rule everything. But we need to start embedding that in our youth and then embedding that every single day in our lives. It is a practice. Love is an action word. Community is an action word. So understand that every time we come out here and rally or protest, it ain't for show. This is for genuine love. People have lost their lives. People have lost their lives. And we're standing here today for the people that have lost their lives and for the people that are here that are alive today. Every single one of you. So give it up for yourselves for coming out here. And showing love for the people that are here. When I say Black lives, you say matter. Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
I guess we started a year ago, instead of starting like in the 1600s, we started a year ago. People forget exactly why Minnesota, Minneapolis, blew up the way it did. It was because right after the lynching of George Floyd, people forget how the DA and how the city council and everybody involved in city politics in Minneapolis said that there was no criminal involvement with the case of Floyd. Everyone forget that part, everyone skip that part. And the city was like, all right, well, you know what time it is then, it's official. They incited what is happening now. Even though we didn't need them to say that in order to blow up, but they incited what came 365 days later. Then afterwards, it's the same thing that the Paterson Police Department does and every police department does around the nation. They lied in the police report and said that it was due to some medical malpractice or some big terminologies that just confuses exactly what is really happened. So that's exactly how we got here today. It is the same way that we've been dying since we've been over here, since before Columbus here. It is still the same way we're dying today. Only difference is my camera records.
Talk about it.
I want to involve my last part of my little speech, whatever you want to call it, about this. What do we say when we say hands up?
Don't shoot.
Hands up.
Don't shoot.
Now it's different though. It's hands up and it's shoot back. So before let's articulate that a little bit more though. When we say hands up, shoot back, that means on multiple fronts. That means for the homeless guy in the corner, you don't treat him like he's a piece of nothing. You make sure that if you have a bottle of water, you give him that bottle of water and don't treat him like he's less than equal.
Talk about it.
That's how you shoot back at the system.
Talk about it.
When we say hands up, shoot back, that means we make sure that your brother next to you is doing good in school when you're going out. That means when a teacher says something that's along the lines of white supremacy, you correct him. Whether you're in fourth grade, it might be hard to do as you're growing up. You correct them on the spot and be like, no, this is actually the real story. And whether you believe it or not, I'm going to tell my perspective.
Say that one more time about the teacher.
If a teacher says something along the lines of white supremacy, you correct them on the spot. If somebody said that police are okay, like the guy recording his personal phone over there, if police say that, oh, not all police are bad, you say no, all cops are traveling. That's the fact. When we say hands up, shoot back, at this point is when you see it, let's say some man get pulled over, or some black man, black woman get pulled over, if you got the time, you stand behind them and you record and you make sure everything's going okay. In the same way no one knew Floyd is gonna die, we didn't know the next one of us is gonna die. That's what it means when we say hands up, shoot back. At the same time, a lot of these, when we go out to protest and march, the same way the police operators again, we have to operate as a gang. That means we move united and we move in solidarity. And we don't judge anybody's actions, we don't judge anybody's thoughts, and we don't judge anybody's feelings. But if we're here for black liberation and black power, then we're here for black liberation and black power. No matter what tactic you use or what tactic you agree with. And my last point is that when we say hands up, shoot back, that means we teach everybody how to put their hands up and shoot back. And that means when we see the Palestine community, like say when we come out for them and they support us and we support them, we make sure that we're united so we can move forward together. When we see the Asian community, we make sure that we don't let the media divide us. Because at the end of the day, the reason why the Black Panthers got killed and assassinated by the government is because one of the things they preached was solidarity at an international level.
Talk about it.
So when you have that, then you can't be beat. Next time the cops come up to your neighborhood, you make sure you talk to your block and be like, look, if somebody gets pulled over in our block, in our hood, we're not going to let that brother go alone. We're going to make sure we're outside and let the cops know, and we'll fuck with them on any level.
And where are you from? Where do you live now?
I live in Whippany.
And that's what it means for black liberation and black power, as we are learning it every day. Stand together, stand united, and we make sure that we do not stop until Palestine is free, so black women have equal rights, so black men can walk on the streets without being scared of their life when they get pulled over. When I say what do we want, we're going to say black power. What do we want?
Black power!
What do we want?
Black power!
What do we want?
Black power!
Hands up! Hands up!
Don't shoot!
Hands up!
Shoot back!
Appreciate it. Peace and love.
Woo! Matter! 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 Matter!
Thank you so much. We got another brother coming up on the mic right now, Brother Pine. Drop some down for this.
I wrote some words for today.
I hate to start a speech at a BLM march with this white ass quote, but damn, what a difference a year makes. I know a lot of us feel like it hasn't been enough change, and that's valid. But I feel like we would be remiss to not acknowledge the progress we have made. We have to combat these liberal, and to be frank, capitalist ideas that if everything hasn't changed in a year, you have failed. For me, due to my own mental health issues, I recognize the power of thoughts. And within just a year, the thought has changed. And the thought is everything. The thought is what frees us or enslaves us. And the thought is now revolution. In 2018, no protest I went to mentioned capitalism as the cause of our suffering. I remember back when riots were seeing some coon shit. Who destroys their own community? The community none of us own. And the lynching of George Floyd changed all of that. But I refuse to romanticize George's death because that commodifies him. It's easier to see a martyr than to see a man because it softens the pain. Nancy Pelosi called George Floyd's death a sacrifice, which outside of being some dumb liberal shit. To call what happened a sacrifice is to imply George Floyd agreed to his death. And make no mistake, George Floyd's life was stolen. I must admit I never saw the video because I've seen enough black death for several lifetimes. And as black people, we have to stop traumatizing ourselves by watching these murders to prove to white people who don't give a fuck why they should. And as black people, we romanticize our pain because pain is all we know. I always hated the phrase, there's beauty in the struggle. There is no beauty in the struggle. There's beauty in humanity's dedication to perseverance despite unimaginable evil. George cried to his dead mother. As someone whose mom also died, I have to wonder how many dead mothers had to hold their babies from a distance, powerless to save them. Let me bring up an idea to y'all that I've never heard said here before. How many times do you think a black man died before this country finally kills him? George died 1,000 times before that knee ever touched his neck. I'm 24, I turned 25 in 2 months, and I've died over 100 times. The day I was born was the first time I died. My dad wasn't there. Black men are reincarnation incarnate. I've died in abusive homes, shelters, in the words of my ex-lover, and due to my abandonment issues from losing my dad, my mom, and countless others. I've died in the idea of losing my community. I'm a member of the group Bridgewood for Black Liberation, and I can never thank them enough for showing me the love I always needed, the family I always wanted. As black people in America, we have a home taken, so now wherever we are, we make it. And even with them in various communities I'm in, I feel invisible. The life of a black man. I feel betrayed, not seen, not supported, hurt, unheard, and angry. I question my value here a lot. And I haven't left because what you love, you struggle for. I'm here because I don't want my child's death to change the world. I want him to be a fucking child. That's right. Hear me clearly. Black men are not your martyrs. Black men are not your magical egos, and black men are not your fucking fools. And we're remiss in this community if we don't remember that. George Floyd didn't have to change the goddamn world, he asked for his mother. And liberal hollow analogies don't bring me warmth, because I too have cried for a woman I knew wasn't coming back. I speak for the ancestors whose names vanished before I got to this stage, whose legacy is hanging from trees, whose lifeless corpses were photographed to be made postcards from the country, who then drafted their children to die in wars they never agreed to be a part of. And you're surprised this continues? I'm not surprised in the slightest. I'm not surprised in the slightest that black people continue to die in America since George Floyd's death. Because America is a business and dead black people are its currency. And as long as America's been, as long as America will be, this will continue because that's what America is. In these speeches, I always speak to my people, so I've never wrote speaking to police. And that's because the difference between us and them is we speak two different languages. They speak death, and as Rafiq Zadaya says, we teach life, sir. We are not here for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. We are here for a man's life. When you see someone screaming fuck 12 at a cop, what they are really saying is we teach life. And we are so appalled at your inability to even process life as something that should be valued. We scream for Black lives because we teach life. We mourn for George because we teach life. A month ago, I was having suicidal thoughts and hearing voices telling me to jump in front of the train. But I didn't because we teach life. I love you. I love you and cherish you. I love you and cherish you all. I'm grateful for this space and that my words hold any weight to you. I hope you don't notice the goddamn shakiness. I dedicate this speech to Richard for Black Liberation, all of you, the woman I've fallen for in the past year, Akeem Cody, Paterson's brother, therefore my brother. May our ancestors' memories be a blessing because his existence is surely fucking counts. Ashe.
No peace.
I want to hear y'all from the back. I said no justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
And if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
they don't get no damn peace. Peace, y'all. We know why we're here. And we know the war is far from over. We know in order to get to tomorrow, we must fight today. And in order for us to get to tomorrow, we have to exercise power. We have to know our power, guard our power, and exercise it freely, unapologetically, boldly, as our ancestors have taught us to do. As a proud cousin myself of the late great Malcolm X, who was my grandfather's first cousin, who has taught us all the ability to act, because what power ultimately means is the ability to act. And we need to make sure that we don't let that word abuse us or mistreat us or make us afraid, because ultimately everyone here is powerful beyond measure. And I want to let y'all know that I love each and every one of you. George Floyd should be here today. And I want to say loud and clearly to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. Fuck Joe Biden. Let me say it loud and clearly. Justice has not been served. Real justice is Tiana having her father today. Real justice is not one more black queen or king being walked by the hands of police. That's real justice. Real justice is black folks having reparations and living without fear. Real justice is not my little niece asking if I'll be killed by police. Real justice is my mother not having dreams or if or when her son will be next. That is real justice. So fuck Nancy Pelosi, fuck Joe Biden, and fuck Kamala Harris, who we still have justice. Another 400 years, times have not changed. We're still fighting the same fight. And as a matter of fact, older people are still fighting the same fight. And while our grandmothers and great aunts and uncles are out here, we know we are nowhere near finished. So it's incumbent on us to speak up. It is incumbent on us to speak out. Whenever or wherever there is symbols or acts of injustice. Because if not, we'll get to as complicity, just as the Derek Chauvin who have committed murder in the lynchings of our people. All cops are Derek Chauvin. All cops are Derek Chauvin. There's no good cops in a racist system. A system that was designed to kill black and brown folks with impunity. I don't want to hear a damn about this good cops. That goes for your mother, your aunts, your uncles, your brothers, everybody. Because as long as they are a reflection of a racist criminal justice system that has kept black and brown folks in bondage since it was created, they are a part of the problem. And I don't want to hear it. Slave catchers, answering for their masters. And I quite frankly want to remind everybody, because I've received a lot of phone calls from people saying, how come you guys aim for the building? We know, as Dr. King said, riot and protest are the language of the unheard. And as long as our people are being lynched and robbed of their lives by the hand of law enforcement, we have every right and every duty to fight for our freedom more than the white man on one side. And that is the first thing black folks will turn to, because we're tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. I don't give a damn if Target comes down, because Target should be in the streets with us. We can't get our black bodies rebuilt for all these damn buildings have insurance for. So to hell with your building. To hell with it. I don't want to give a damn. I don't want to hear a damn about Target, Walmart, State Macy's, all the damn buildings. To hell with them. Because my black brother and sister are dying right now by the hands of the police. Both are unseen and unheard of, that we don't hear about. But all black folks make only 13% of the population. Brothers and sisters, we have so much work to do. And if y'all not really about, let me tell you something, we have to be about the true liberation for our people. Ain't no other way. And if we're not, they're going to continue to take advantage and continue to sue out the state-sanctioned and state-sponsored violence on our people. And until we tell them motherfuckers, whether it's in Trenton or in DC, that enough is enough, but to really show it in our language, we're always going to be immovable in our decisions, immovable in our steps. Because they recognize our power, but they don't want it to exist. And I came here to tell y'all that I believe in your power. I hope you believe in my power. And together, all of our power will never, ever be defeated. Much love, all power to you. It's an honor for me to be here. I organized in New York over the past 3 years. I've been in Paterson as the pastor of the Christ Temple Baptist Church, right there on Harper Street.
Thank you.
It's an honor to be here, but if we're honest with ourselves, aren't we tired of being here? Come on, y'all gotta talk to me. Aren't we tired of being here? We're tired of being here because us being here says that somebody or something continues to work against us. And that something is that system that we're living in. One thing I love about activists and organizers is that activists and organizers are working every day so that one day their presence will not be needed. I'll say that again. Activists and organizers, we are working so that one day our presence will not be needed. Black Lives Matter exists now because one day we're trying to bring forth a society where we hope we don't have to declare that Black Lives Matter because it will already be matter of fact. This is why we work. So earlier I heard nobody's out here for show, nobody's out here for popularity. Activism and organizing is an act of love, sacrificial love, because we are hoping that one day, and I'm a member of Black Lives Matter Hudson Valley in New York, we are hoping that one day we do not have to exist. We have to be challenged when we come to these rallies. We have to leave these rallies with a challenge. What can we do to further the cause? It's good to be amongst folks who feel alike and think alike, but we gotta leave here with the challenge. The first thing we all ought to do, if you don't already belong to an organization that's dedicated to the liberation and the freedom of your people, you should join an organization today. Join an organization today that is fighting for the freedom and the liberation of your people. If you leave here today and you are not part of an organization, you have more work to do. So the first thing we gotta do is join an organization. I grew up, I was raised in Philly, and an elder used to always tell me, Weldon, join an organization. All the rallies, all the speeches will fall on deaf ears, won't make a difference if the people don't join an organization. We have to get on one accord. We have to get on one accord dedicated to the fight that is in front of us. So, I say all this to say this. I was thinking to myself, we all know about the anti-Asian hate crime bill that went forth. And I had a few friends ask, when are we going to get one for black folks? I believe that anytime any group of people are being targeted based on their ethnicity, their race, their faith, that's a problem. So I'm not mad if the Asian community is organizing to come against that. But we know if there is an anti-black hate crime bill, every institution that exists in the United States of America ought to be charged. Every institution in the I don't care if it's an economic institution, a political institution, a religious institution, every institution ought to be charged. But we have to be participants in our own liberation. We can't wait for the government to do it. We can't wait for federal, local. It is the organizers, those on the streets, those who put their feet to the ground. We have to be the ones who are fighting for our liberation. So I won't be before you long. I just want to encourage everybody here today. Join an organization. Be active in your liberation. Don't wait for somebody else to set you free. Malcolm X said what? If you're not willing to die for your freedom, don't let that word come out your mouth. Now, none of us have a death wish, but what we're saying is the fight for freedom is worth it. If we are being oppressed, if we are being targeted, the fight for freedom is worth it. If we are being talked about, if we are being locked up, if we are being criminalized, then the fight for freedom is worth it. If our children can't get a decent education, then the fight for freedom is worth it. If our children don't have a place to play, then the fight for freedom is worth it. If our mamas gotta choose between health care and a roof over their head, then the fight for freedom is worth it. If cops still feel comfortable beating us over our heads because they think they can get away with treating our bodies as less than, then the fight for freedom is worth it. The fight for freedom is worth it. Come on, the fight for freedom is worth it. Even if we have to change this city upside down, the fight for freedom is worth it. So before you leave here, I want everybody to commit to joining an organization. Don't leave here satisfied with just attending this rally. Don't leave here happy with yourselves and patting yourselves on the back because you joined a rally. We are living in a world that operates on the oppression and the exploitation of black folks and people of color. And you gotta understand this. There are some folks in Palestine, we got some Afro-Palestinians out in Palestine who are crying for help. We gotta be liberated. I say this as a man of the faith, I say this as a pastor, I say this as a group of people who sometimes biasly pick a side without studying the facts on the ground. I say that whenever there's a people that are oppressed and exploitative, if you are a child of God, you must be on the side of those who are oppressed, and you must be on the side of those who are fighting for freedom. So be committed. Don't just be happy with doing this rally. We thank God for Black Lives Matter in Paterson. We thank God because I watch that they do something on the ground every day. Every day they are doing something. Not just these rallies, but every day they are doing something. And we thank God for organizations like Black Lives Matter, especially here in Paterson. But I want everyone to be committed to joining an organization that's dedicated to the freedom and the liberation of your people, because the fight for freedom is worth it. The fight for freedom is worth it. The fight for freedom is worth it. God bless you. Thank you very much. Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! I'm going to repeat what Zelly said earlier. When we say Black Lives Matter, we say it with our chest. When we say Black Lives Matter and they meet us with the butt, we say it with our chest and we repeat it. Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Unequivocally, unapologetically, no ifs, ands, or buts, but Black Lives Matter! The thing they fear the most, without a doubt, is the unification of the people. The fear comes from understanding that when people are united, power is taken back. That when people are united, the voice, the loud voice becomes very clear. And the people united will never be defeated. 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 I want to say thank you to Zelly, thank you to all organizers here today for giving me this opportunity to speak in your space. I genuinely appreciate it. You know, we talk about systems of oppression being connected, how the oppression of the Palestinian people and police brutality in the United States is connected. And ask yourself, what is that connection? When you look at the tear gas canisters being fired at folks in Missouri protesting, being fired all over this country, being fired against Palestinian protesters, it's the same manufacturer. when we talk about the insane military-grade equipment used on our streets, on the streets of the United States of America, being deployed and used against black folks in this country, they're the same profiteers. It's the same people pocketing the money. That is the connection. The willingness to profit and the desire to dominate. And when we talk about our movements being movements for the people and movements that center love, that's because we are centering liberation. We are centering freedom. We are centering well-being. Naturally, when we're marching for justice and we're talking about justice, we're going to be giving each other one. That's just what comes with caring for one another. It's simple. You know what I'm saying? Unconditional. They'll have you believe that the people are the ones who are at fault for the oppression, which is wild, right? They won't admit that it's their selfishness, that their desire to dominate, and the system designed to oppress is at fault. And when we talk about defunding the police, putting it back into the community, like I won't be surprised, and it definitely happened, and it'll happen again, where it'll be like, but we need police to control crime. No, what you need is to invest in the people, give people opportunity, give them a good way of life, give them a means to get food, and you don't have that problem. It's that simple. We have to start by claiming our right to security, our right to happiness, our right to life. I'm going to repeat the first one more time. Our right to security. The rationalization of our oppression. The rationalization of the murder of people on the streets of this country because of the color of their skin is insane. And that's what we mean when we say a conviction is not justice. A conviction is not justice. Justice is George Floyd existing today. Justice is Floyd existing without fear of being murdered. That is justice. That is liberation. And that is what we are fighting for. So today, tomorrow, and forever, our goal is liberation. Our goal is to say, I have a right to defend myself. I have a right to exist. I have a right to say unapologetically, Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Can you clock out being black? Can you clock out being a person of color? At the end of the day, they put up their uniform, they put up their vest. I can't put up this skin. I can't put up this skin. Ain't no such thing as no blue lives. Ain't no such thing as the blue lives.
Ain't no such thing as blue lives.
Occupation!
We out here to put out a message to everybody. Our message ain't a message of hate. Our message is a message of love. We out here protesting, gathering today, still in the midst of a pandemic, because we love black people. We're in the midst of a pandemic because we love black people. And there's more cops coming down, but we don't care. We invite them to listen to our message, right?
That's right.
We invite you to listen to our message.
That's right.
And this is a movement of love, not a movement of hate. We hate the system. We hate the system. I'm getting real sick and tired of coming out to these protests and then thinking that everything is fixed. Everything is not fixed. These cops, especially in Paterson, are crooked. Crooked. If it wasn't crooked, would the FBI still be locking them up? If these Paterson police wasn't crooked, why did the prosecutor's office now have to take control of internal affairs? Because they don't trust the Paterson police to police themselves. Do you trust the police to police themselves? Do you trust these clowns to police themselves?
No.
You think a couple months in police academy teaches them enough about law? You think these people have the right to take your life? Do you think these people have the right to take your life? Do you think anybody has the right to take your life? So we against all systems that are oppressing us, that are harming us, or that can cause harm to us. So when we say Black Lives Matter, we say it loud, we say it clear for everybody to hear us, especially them inside these offices, especially them that's hiding in the windows. Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Say I. Say I know.
I know.
Say I know that we will win.
I know that we will win.
Say I know.
I know.
Say I know that we will win.
I know that we will win.
Say I know that we will win.
I know that we will win.
Say I know that we will win.
I know that we will win.
Say I know that we will win.
I know that we will win.
Say I know that we will win.
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 Say I know that we will win.
I know that we will win.
Say I know that we will win.
I know that we will win.
And we will. Give it up to yourself.
That's right. They got all eyes on us. So what we do? Shut it down.
Who shut it down?
We shut it down.
Who shut it down?
We shut it down.
Shut it down.
We shut it down.
Shut it down.
We shut it down. We shut it down.
Shut it down.
We shut it down.
Shut it down.
We shut it down.
Shut it down.
We shut it down.
You know, they spend a lot of time in these cars, right? They donuts on their phones.
On their phones.
On their phones.
How many of you have called the Paterson police and had them come within 5 minutes? Anybody? Anybody?
Negative.
Negative. Negative. You wait sometimes 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours for the police to come.
Or they never
Or the
come.
next day. So why do we say we need police to protect us when they're not even doing their job in the first place?
Right.
They're not even coming out here in the first place. The only thing that they're doing is harassing us. Locking people up. If you remember, some of their friends got locked up because they were shaking people down, taking their money, taking their drugs, and their friends were selling the drugs out their own squad car.
That's right.
Who's the real criminals?
That's right.
Let me see if this makes sense to you. A drug dealer is locked up, right, for making money selling drugs. That money is drug money. Lock you up. But they take the drug money and use it to buy cars. How does that make sense? If a drug dealer can't use his drug money to buy cars, how can you use the drug money to buy cars? They should be mad. They're corny. They're whack. They're going to get defunded, and the people will win. The people will win. Because everyone knows our communities need more resources. Our kids need more recreation. So the city of Paterson is okay with taking away some funding from the police department in order to give it to our kids. Our kids are the most important thing to us. And we're going to protect our kids, and we're going to protect our community by any means necessary.
That's right. That's right.
We need to invest in our community. $40 million goes to the police salary, $40 million, and they don't even live here.
You don't even live here.
They don't even live here.
I know. You're not even from here.
Just $40 million leaving the community. When we're saying, how about we take $40 million and put it into the community?
That's right. That's right.
This is not about jobs. I don't care if they lose jobs, if it means our communities are safe. I don't care if they lose jobs, if it means our communities can be safe.
That's right.
That's what we're fighting for.
That's right.
A better world, a better community. One where we don't have to have community violence or police violence. This is what we're fighting for, and this is what we're going to win. Say I. Say I know. Say I know that we will win.
Until you realize that not even, let's say about 2 months ago, did you guys hear that a 16-year-old kid, a kid my age, walking home, and he got jumped by the very cops in this goddamn building. Same cops. And when people went to save him, they pushed him away. It's not, oh, this is just in some other state. Oh, this is just in New York. No, it's everywhere. It's a corrupt system. You have the facts. You have the information. You can look for it yourself. This institution is built against us. It's built against Latinos. It's built against blacks. It's built against, oh my God.
Everybody.
I'm fucking pissed.
Everybody.
I'm fucking pissed now.
As you should be.
Is it okay that I'm afraid to go outside some days?
No.
Is it bad that I want to walk into one with my friend and then a cop stops us thinking that we're having an issue?
Nope.
I'm goddamn lucky that my white friend was there to talk me out of that shit.
Privilege.
Because I would have been fucked.
Privilege.
It's not a matter that we're the same. We're not the same. We all got different beliefs. We all come from different origins. Some people are immigrants. Some people were born here. Some people were taken here. Some people are just mixed. We can't pretend that we're all the same. We're not the same. We got to respect each other's differences. We can't keep lying to ourselves. The more white people start to lie to themselves, because we have some white allies. I'm not going to say we don't. But they also, sometimes they get misconstrued thinking that we're the same. We're not. We all have different histories. And we don't have to be the same. We just have to respect each other's differences. I don't care if a racist man was sitting right in front of me. I'm gonna show that man the same love that I would show my sister over here.
That's right. Say it again.
I don't care if a racist man was standing in front of me. I'm gonna show him the same love that my sister shows me. That my brother shows me.
That's right. That's right.
What would you like me to refer to? My sibling.
That's
Sibling
right.
right here, man.
That's right. I love
Because we're
that.
all human. And the more that you show these racists that we can show love to them, they can show love back to us. A racist man could walk up to you one day and insult you. If you go and insult him back, he's just gonna generalize all of us. Like, oh yeah, see? I told off this Hispanic, and now he's screaming back at me. So, that means all Hispanics are the same. Is that true?
Nope.
No. You show them the same love and respect that you would treat anybody else, so that they open their mind. Have y'all ever seen that TED Talk of the guy, the black man who went to a KKK rally? Not just one, multiple. Became friends with the Klan leader. When they first met, they thought they were gonna kill each other. He was afraid the Klan leader was about to shoot him. The Klan leader was afraid that he was gonna shoot him. So, what happened? After a few years of talking to each other, they became good friends. And leader takes down his robe, gives it to the black man, and says, this is a life that's not a part of me anymore. The Klan leader, some of the most racist, bigoted motherfuckers you ever gonna meet, hands down his robe to a black man and respects him. He's him on the same level now. That's what we all need to do.
That's our youth, y'all.
Yesterday I went to Chick-fil-A for a minute. It was a nice day. And then on our way back, my black male friend, he put his wallet in front of him. I'm like, why did he do that? It was in your pocket. He said how his father told him to do that, so when he tried to reach for it, they wouldn't try anything. And that just ruined my whole week.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Why should he have to be worried about that? And then Chad can swing his dick in a cop's face and they'll take him to that same Chick-fil-A before getting arrested. Why do I have to make a backup plan with my white friend if my brother gets arrested? We gotta go. I gotta pick up my white friend You're just over there laughing. This is ridiculous. We should not have to be doing this. Thank you.
Give it up for the sisters. Make some noise, man.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. If somebody didn't tell you this morning, I was still going to say this because I learned this from Jacob Blake's father. I love you. I love you. I love you. 12 months. 365 days. After all the blood, after all the sweat, after all the tears, after every left foot, right foot, after every protest, after every city burning, after every peaceful protest, after every sign, after every t-shirt being made, after every voice being heard, black people still standing. Black people still standing. I've met all kinds of people within the past year. From North Jersey to South Jersey to Pennsylvania, all across New York. And the one thing that I'm constantly hearing is, Black lives still matter. I'm gonna be brief because I wanna give the Paterson brothers and sisters, by the way, Rostoff is my name, I come from West Orange, New Jersey. I just want to say this, first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to Gisele and all of BLM Paterson. The one thing, and I actually want to put this on blast, this brother every day puts up an inspirational post to get mental health people or anybody that's going through a bad day the validation they can never get from their own kin. This ain't no... So let me just say this real quick. I'm going to give you a comparison. In 1966, there was a brother by the name of Reuben Hurricane Carter. Do you remember that name, Reuben Hurricane Carter? I know Paterson PD remembers that name. There was a place called the Lafayette Grill. It's no longer there anymore. There was an incident where there was a shooting involved in a robbery. Hurricane was in the right place at the wrong time, driving with his friends, and then all of a sudden finds himself in a courtroom, and yet he's found guilty. An all-white jury found him guilty. 9 years later, Muhammad Ali, Bob Dylan, all these great actors and motivators came into the aid, but then guess what happens? No justice. No justice. Then, and here's the funny part of the story, really quickly. There was a young black man in New York, illiterate, 14 years old, meets these Canadians, these co-conspirators, as we call our Caucasian brothers and sisters. Came in, brought him up to date. He writes a letter after reading Reuben Hurricane Carter's book, The 16th Round. Reuben makes a relationship with these people, and guess what happens in 1985? By habeas corpus, he beats the system. Yeah, you can clap. You can clap. He beat the system. You see, that's all what it is. It's a system. It's policy. How many of you truly know the history of not just former policy, but current policy in the city of Paterson? Well, you know what that means by that silence? We got to get to work. We got to get to work. That means, guess what? If we send power to the people, you know what that means? They don't have to be working anymore. They don't have to collect a pension. But that also means if you know the underbelly, you can, honest to God, by faith, cast that out. And that doesn't just come by just intellect alone. You got to put in that work. You got to tell somebody, join an organization to get to know and do that work. Don't just pass it along people 13, 14. Tell your people 8, 9, 10 years old. Tell your people 8, 9, 10 years old. Let them know. Know the history of this city. Because last I checked, all Black lives matter. All Black lives matter. lives, especially in the city of Paterson. God bless you.
That's right. Oh, wait, let me get this title off, brother. All right.
Everybody. So, obviously, I am not Black American. I am proud to be a Palestinian American. Free, free Palestine. Now, I cannot resonate with the day-to-day life of an African American brother or sister. And I know that for a fact, and I know my privilege because of my skin tone. And also, I do not live in Paterson, I live in Clifton, which is right next door. Shout out Clifton. But I do resonate with the fact that Palestinians in Palestine are similar to African Americans in the United States of America, because we are both oppressed people.
That's right.
And it's not good when I see a Palestinian American, another Arab American come up to me and they ask me, why are you supporting Black Lives Matter? Why should I support Black Lives Matter? That's not my problem. But it is your problem. It's all of our problems, especially as a Palestinian American. It is my problem, it is your problem. And you should make it your problem. Because as a Palestinian living in America, my tax dollars go towards the oppression of my own people. Just like how my tax dollars go towards the oppression of Black Americans every other day. We come out every other day and come out in these streets so we can get our voice heard. But it hurts me every single day to know the fact that we need to stand out here in our hundreds and we need to scream and we need to post on social media just so we can get people to care. Just so we can have someone look at us and tell us, oh, what's going on here? Why should I worry about this? What is this? Why do I need to cry? Why do I need to scream just for people to care? Just for the people behind this building to care about what's happening in their own streets? Why should I care about, why should I have to scream for Bill Pascrell right down the road for him to denounce what his party is not condemning?
And funding.
And funding. We need to continue to come out, and I urge my Arab American brothers and sisters and my Palestinian American brothers and sisters to continue to stand with the Black Lives Matter movement, because our movement is one.
That's right.
It's not two separate movements. As Americans, we stand together. As Palestinians and as Black people, we stand together.
That's right.
Free Palestine, Black Lives Matter. Palestine.
This is the first of many. So keep on your social media. When you see a Free Palestine rally, go out to it. Doesn't matter if it's in New Brunswick, if it's in Parsippany, if it's in Clifton. Go out to it, support our brothers and sisters, because when there's a Black Lives Matter rally, they're going to be out here supporting us too. As Brother Weldon said earlier, it's important for us to join the organization. We invite everybody to join the Black Lives Matter Paterson chapter. Please on Instagram, find us, BLM Paterson, and join us. Be a part of a movement. Like we said, we're just not out here protesting. We're out here building the type of community and type of world we want to live in. We're giving food to the homeless, giving food to the needy. We're getting love and support to those who need that love and support, because that's the world that we want to live in, and that's the world we're going to make, and that's the world that we're going to take.
That's right. That's right. We are an organization of love, unconditional.
So, we're going to come back or go back as strong as we came, to let the whole city know that we was out here, to let George Floyd know that we was out here, to let Minneapolis know that we was out here standing in solidarity, So I don't care if your voice gets hoarse, it's gonna come back. George Floyd ain't coming back. Mike Brown ain't coming back. Tamika Lowry ain't coming back. Sandra Bland ain't coming back. Breonna Taylor ain't coming back. Tamir Rice ain't coming back. Alton Sterling ain't coming back. Philando Castile ain't coming back. Eric Garner ain't coming back. 200 black people were killed this year, ain't coming back.
Just this year.
Just this year alone. And the year isn't done. So we're gonna be chanting for them, and we're gonna continue to organize and mobilize because we will win, and that's why they're so scared, because they know they're losing their grips, they know they're losing popularity in the city of Paterson.
That's right.
And we
Thank you for listening to the speeches from Black Lives Matter Paterson. Here on the Stop the Violence podcast, we are consistent anti-oppression and against all forms of violence against all living beings, including animals. We also talk about a lot of other things like mental health, self-help, activism, art, music, etc. If you are not yet vegan or are new to the concept of veganism, I hope you will take the time to listen to a 20-minute TEDx talk called Every Argument Against Veganism by Ed Winters, and check out the YouTube channel Earthling Ed because it has all that you need to know. Or you can also watch the documentary Dominion Movement at watchdominion.com or type in Dominion Movement documentary on YouTube. Either way, it's free. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to get this podcast as well as other content. Thanks. Bye.